The scale stops moving the moment your body starts healing. But we get nervous and think that our diet is broken. This is dangerous because we get desperate. All the work you put into putting down the processed foods, convincing ourselves to eat meat with the accompanying fat, and then the scale stops moving and we think that the mainstream was right and the diet just doesn't work long term. We go right back to our old thinking. We want to eat less and hit the gym. Wellness warrior, I can assure you that we all go through stalls. Our bodies aren't making a mistake. Carnivore, keto, paleo, doesn't matter what diet you do. There will come a time when the scale stops moving if the diet is healthy. What we've been misled about is what the stall means. It's actually a repair phase. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm sharing what I learned that helped me heal my metabolism so that you can have a conversation with your healthcare provider and be a partner in your own healing. Let's look at why eating more healthy foods and feeling satiated is exactly how to signal to your body that it's finally safe to let go of the fat and fix your metabolism. We often think that getting the scale moving is the most important thing. What can we do? Like, what harm can possibly happen from a fast, right? Just, or a few days of not eating or cutting my calories for a while to make the weight loss resume. What we risk when we're eating keto or carnivore and our body stalls to do repairs, and then we respond by restricting, is telling our body that we have once again run out of food. Remember, we got into this problem because we were eating non-nutritive processed junk, right? We were eating fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes. Those are not foods appropriate for humans. And the meat, fish, poultry, eggs with the accompanying salt that your body actually wanted, we were limiting. All of this we were doing because we were believing the diet culture lies and the health professionals' advice that plant-based foods are healthier than animal-based foods. Our body, up to this point, so up to the stall, responded to the fatty meat with weight loss. That means something, Wellness Warrior. Think of your body like a house under renovation. For years, you've been collecting building materials for the renovation, but unfortunately, the project manager had been buying the cheapest quality used products possible, of course, because they want to pocket the profits, right? And the work just barely proceeded because the materials were pretty much unusable. And they sit in storage, taking up space, and they're going to sit there, and they did, until you finally got a new project manager. And with the high quality materials that are coming in for the kitchen and the bathroom, the renovation is running smoothly. And then we hit the stall because the flooring arrives and there's nowhere to store it. You see, you need to pause the renos to start getting rid of the low quality junk that was collected by the previous project manager. I want you to remember that the scale stops moving the moment the healing actually starts happening. Reorganizing that stuff takes time. But if we panic and go back to the old dieting rules where our body is trying to heal, we are blocking our body from doing the cleanup because it will once again be fighting the incoming toxins from the vegetables. Okay, because vegetables are lower in calories, so you are much more likely to increase your vegetables and decrease your healthy animal fat that you'd been eating that your body actually needs. Our body has no choice but to abandon the deep repair of our organs, our skin, our brain, because it needs to divert the toxins to fat storage to keep you in the game. That's the way this works. If you don't solve the stall the right way, We are setting ourselves up to be metabolically brittle because our body doesn't get the chance to do the internal repair that it desperately wants and needs to do. Every time we give in to garbage, we gain weight because our body correctly stores those toxins, Wellness Warrior. We cannot starve a broken metabolism back into health. That's not a thing. It doesn't work. I know. I tried. When I was told that I needed hip surgery at 46 years old, I spent the next 8 months of my life trying to lose weight. I tried dieting before and I was successful before, right? I lost weight. But in this occasion, after 8 months of eating less and doing the only exercise I could possibly do, which was walking every single day, not even a pound was lost. Wellness Warrior, that's how much inflammation and problems my body was struggling with, first of all. But I need you to understand that I had never realized that my other diets were never successful, right? Had all been fails. Because if I had actually solved my weight issue with those diets, I would have been at normal weight rather than obese at 46 years old. The truth was, I was calorie restricting my body into a corner, and I'd done that several times, but my body always won, right? Because it would take over and start doing what it's supposed to do, which is put those low carbohydrate vegetation things that I was eating, the toxins, into storage. Weight gain meant that I lived to try a different diet. And that's actually what I did in 2018. When I finally put the garbage down and went from eating 450 grams of sugar per day. I mean, it breaks my brain to understand that I was eating a pound of sugar per day. But then I took it down to 20 grams a day. So keto numbers. And then everything changed. I lost water weight. Then I lost body fat. And then I hit the stall. And I remember being so disappointed. Like how is it that the weight is, I wanted to continue to see that weight fall off. But then I was fortunate enough that in my educating of myself on how keto and carnivore, well, keto at the time worked, I had found Dr. Fung and I watched his video about weight loss. And I remembered that he taught us that your body cannot both clean up and repair and like that and lose weight at the same time. And that one lesson helped me to understand that what was happening was okay, it was normal, it was good. The scale stops moving the moment your body starts healing. That mindset shift really helped me to understand my body, how my biology was trying to do the good thing for me, right? The way that our body works. This is not a math equation. My body is a system that has safeguards in place to ensure survival. So cleanup happens when it is safe to clean up. And weight loss happens when it is healthy enough to lose fat. Weight gain happens when the system needs protecting. Now, in my 50s, I realized that my body was not stalling to annoy me. It was repairing my joints, organ, skin, tinnitus, brain fog. The list is so long. My weight stalled because my body was busy. And today, I'm pain-free, tight skin, and I don't count any calories. I want to show you how to find that same peace of mind to let your body do what it's meant to do. Today, I laugh about this, but back 10 years ago, I really believed that I could exercise away the impact of eating ice cream, chocolate, cookies. I mean, the amount of chocolate I ate just thinking I'll just go to the run around and do so. But those chemicals, the sugar, The dairy are having an impact on my body that is more than just energy from the moment I digest them, right? The insulin spike matters. The chemicals have an impact on how my body functions. The sugar causes glycation. Eating less and moving more was not producing the impact that I thought it was producing. Dr. Fung taught me that my body will lose weight in the short term if I don't eat enough. But eventually, all the studies that he reviewed showed that our body recalibrates based on what we're actually eating, and then weight loss stops. So, that calorie restricted diet stall when the metabolic damage overwhelms the calorie deficit, that's normal. Those carbs that are so low in calories are also highly toxic to our system. Not only does weight rise, but joint pain increases, skin issues flare up, and our health is again suffering. If we continue to force weight loss, we end up in that yo-yo dieting cycle that is secretly hiding the internal struggles that we can't feel, but we can't feel them. And that's because we do not have pain receptors internally, right? But the damage is happening. By trying to force weight loss, we stop the internal cleanup that would have actually resulted in permanent weight loss. We have to stop fighting the very system that is trying to save us. I know it's hard to believe that dieting, that eating fatty meat can heal our bodies, but most of us have already lived the weight loss that comes from keto or carnivore. The problem is we've had our we've also lived many other diets where we've lost weight. And then in those diets, when we hit stalls, the weight came back. We need to understand the difference because in standard diets, you're eating to try to lose weight. In a keto diet, you're eating healthy, so that healthy right amount to build health so that your body heals, because a healthy body regulates its weight. That's what it does. It's what it's meant to do. It's been trying to do that the entire time. Our body can't let go of fat while toxins are coming in, right? Our body will not prioritize weight loss over body repair. Doesn't make sense. Repairing our heart matters more than what we weigh. The solution is to trust your body and maintain healthy eating while the internal repairs are happening. So we need to lean in and provide the healthy animal protein and fat that our body requests while the repairs are happening, right? Making sure that your body has the healthy raw materials to rebuild and repair means it does not get stuck using poor quality construction materials from the garbage that the old project manager has in storage. My cat's playing with my stuff. Hey, stop it. When those repairs are done, your body will resume clearing the storage because the poor quality materials are not needed anymore. You can actually get rid of them, which is a relief to your body, right? Like then you can resume weight loss, right? So since the scale stops when the body starts healing, what you want to do is provide the best quality building blocks for the renovation. During the stall, eating animal protein and fat to satiation whenever your body asks for it actually means that your body will have what it needs to rebuild you and get back to weight loss. And so actually, during the stall, it's the most important time to eat properly. If you're keto, Keep the carbs as low as possible. As a matter of fact, if you're keto and you can manage it, I would even suggest doing carnivore for a little while and letting your body have only the best quality food, right? So actually the animal protein that it needs. You want your body to be able to repair whatever it needs to repair easily. So it's like if you've ever had the experience of having a toilet that barely functions and that you knew that you needed to change it, but you weren't ready to make that payment yet, for the plumber. You're experiencing what your body's experiencing, right? You're in a stuck situation. But as soon as you were able to afford to do that bathroom repair, like to get that toilet fixed, it was gone. The new one was in because the goal is for it to function. So in this scenario, the goal is to eat meat, fish, poultry, and eggs with the accompanying salt to get those essential amino acids and fats so that your body has what it needs to finish the job it started, Wellness Warrior, especially with the number of women suffering from PCOS, the number of men suffering from low testosterone. Those healthy fats are needed to regulate our lipid-based, so fat-based hormones. I know it feels weird to be purposefully eating healthy and not worrying about the scale because we usually link those two things together. But believe me, your body knows what it's doing. Before they invented scales, we were managing our weight just fine. By putting all of our attention on eating meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and low glycemic vegetables, if you're keto or what you're doing is making sure that your body has, oh my goodness, let me start that over. What I'm trying to say is if we put our attention on eating meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and low glycemic vegetables, if you're keto, that's what you need to do, those low glycemic vegetables. What your body's going to do is it's going to have what it needs to get healthy, right? It's going to be able to repair you. When your body's healthy, all the symptoms of poor health just go away. There's no more brain fog. The visceral fat is diminishing. Your tinnitus is going to go away. Your hormones are going to regulate. Your rashes, like skin rashes, and they're going to be better. Fatigue is going to be, your sagging skin is like, everything just gets better. I love the fact that my skin just tightened up without me needing to do any kind of surgery or special creams, Wellness Warrior. Being able to run up and down the stairs again is amazing. Feeling horrible is not just part of getting old. It's not something that our body just like falls apart. We feel pain and fatigue in our 30s and 40s. That's not old. We're supposed to live, apparently, according to our telomeres, to 120. But even for those of us who make it to 90, if I make it to 90, how are we saying that 30s and 40s are old? Yet we walk around in pain and blame our age. And it's not happening because of our age, right? We aren't eating what our body needs. So how can it keep us feeling amazing and having energy? When we feed our body the right way, it actually heals the issues that caused the pain that was happening since our youth. So when the scale stops moving because your body is healing, be proud. That means you fed it right and it's actually rewarding you. When the weight loss resumes, you're going to see that your body has a plan for you. Being at your goal weight isn't about fitting into a smaller size for your body. Your body doesn't care about that. For your body, it's about being able to survive far into the future. So again, 120. That means your body's goal is for you to be the highest functioning biological machine that it can create. This is worth every single stalled day that we live. Every one of them. I do not care about the stall days that I lived because I feel the way that I feel today. A stall isn't a sign that your metabolism or your diet, a stall isn't a sign that your diet is broken. It's a sign that your body is finally receiving the high quality building materials, so those amino acids and fats from the meat, fish, poultry, eggs to actually do the renovations it's been putting off for years, decades even, rather than panicking and returning to garbage or starvation tactics that broke your metabolism in the first place. Lean in, wellness warrior. Trust the process. Your body knows what it's doing. There is no negotiating with food. If you still find yourself wanting junk food, you're going to want to watch the video that I've linked in the description. It's going to walk you through some of those healthy foods that still get us to crave junk. I'm also going to link it at the end. Check that out after the question and answer period, if we have questions to answer. So if there's anyone in here who wants to ask me some questions, I'm more than willing to answer your questions this morning. Hi, Pat. How are you doing? Glad to see you in here. Let me just see what we have going on. And it's pretty quiet. So if I was clear and there's no questions, that's cool too. We can get on with our day. I'm going to give it a few seconds because I know that the live stream is usually a little bit behind the video. This video, by the way, I've decided to create because, let me give you the right view of myself. This video I decided to create because I made a video last week, and this naughty boy, I made a video last week talking about our food and our body's ability to just help us heal itself. It just heals. Like, we don't need all the craziness that we've been told that we need. And so I wanted to make this follow-up to kind of go a little bit more into like some of the things that I learned, especially from Dr. Fung. Dr. Westman's another great source of information. Dr. Barry, they talk about the things that our body actually needs to get healthy and help us to understand that we can do so much better for ourselves. So again, it looks like from what I can see, there aren't any questions this morning, which is totally fine if there aren't any questions. I'm going to let you guys, oh, hello Bride's Biscuit, how are you doing? The body prioritize healing overweight distribution. Our society's scale-centric approach to health is misguided. Absolutely, totally agree with that. And the more important thing is that our body actually stores weight on purpose because of the problems that we feed it. We keep giving it stuff that is toxic, and then when our body is in storage mode, we are confused, and we don't understand that our body's doing absolutely the right thing to try to keep us in the healthiest possible position. And it's so funny that you were bothering me during the live stream and moving my lights around, and now you don't want to stay and say hello? Huh? You need to say hello and not be bothering me when I'm making videos. You're trying to get away now to go back and ruin my light setup. Okay, go. Funny guy. Yeah, so it's definitely misguided, and I definitely think that we have so much ability to do better for ourselves if we take the time to understand how the body works. This is why I made this video today. I wanted to go a little bit more into that detail, like understanding how my body pauses repair because I've eaten something. Most people just don't understand that part of the process. They think that they can eat. As a matter of fact, most people think that if they eat while they're sick, so let's even talk about, you might have the flu or something, and you are absolutely exhausted, no appetite, and people will force down food because they think they need to eat to heal, when in fact your body is right. It's not asking you for food because at that moment it doesn't need food. It needs you to let it use all its efforts on neutralizing whatever is in you that is causing you to be sick. But we've we've just not ever been taught the reality of how our body works. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. The fact that in elementary school, we are taught to read and write. We are taught math and all this other stuff, which sure is going to help us to get a job. But does it matter if I get a job if I don't know how to take care of my body and make it to a great age so that I can actually live the benefits of having taken care of my body? Like, I don't know if anyone has ever thought about it from that perspective, but it doesn't make sense to put in all this effort, energy, whatever, like amassing wealth when I don't know how to take care of my body in a way that lets me stick around long enough to enjoy the wealth. Like, the fact that so many people retire and then pass away so quickly after retirement. As a matter of fact, what about all the people who pass before retirement from physical ailments? So I'm not talking about people who get into accidents. I'm talking about people whose bodies fail before they even get into retirement. It doesn't make sense. But this is what happens, right? Our bodies just can't manage. So, yeah, I think that it's ridiculous that we're expecting ourselves to be able to do things in, yeah, anyways, if you fight with your body, you're going to lose. There's no getting around it. You're going to lose. So like I said, it feels to me like there's not many people in here that have a question today. So I'm going to jump out and we'll talk again next week. So I'm here again Monday at 11:20. Why do I see, actually, before I jump out, I see comments in YouTube that I cannot see. Oh, okay. Over here. So just one more. Fat is not only a nutritional requirement, it's a biological imperative for survival. Yet we fight our hormones to our detriment. Yeah, I definitely will say that for most people, they don't understand the absolute necessity of eating enough fat. And so, because they don't understand that we need to eat fat every single day, the same way that we need, like whenever your body asks you for food, it's asking you for protein, the accompanying fat, salt, iodine. Like, it's asking you for these basic things that it cannot make itself. Because it can't make it, it needs us to bring it in. It needs us to give it to it so that it can then build and repair and keep us tip-top shape. If we don't understand that, then what ends up happening is that we allow companies to tell us that this quick protein bar that I can eat, you know, this is a regular one, like normal diet, but I mean, they make them for keto and whatever too, you know, like but these companies will get us to believe that that will give us the same good quality nutrition as a pork chop, as a steak, as, you know, some fish, some eggs, right? And it's not reality. It might give us the required amount of salt. It's probably going to give us, I don't think it has iodine in this, but it's going to probably give us the amount of salt. I mean, it's got some, it says it has iron, calcium, potassium, sodium. Yeah, so there's sodium there, cholesterol, 5 milligrams. So there's some cholesterol in this one. Is there cholesterol in this one? 15 milligrams of cholesterol in this one, so a bit more. And protein, 20 grams, right? 22 grams of carbohydrates though. So again, the bar that is marketed more towards people who care about keto carnivore, well, keto, not carnivore. Um, that 20 grams of protein on the cover and on the front of the 22 grams. So there's more carbohydrates than there are proteins in that bar. How much is? So you know what? The one that's not marketed at us, funny enough, it has 20 grams of protein and 18 grams of carbohydrate. So the one that's not marketed specifically at keto people actually has the better carb count, although neither of them is good, considering that on a keto diet, your carb count is 20 for the day. Now, I know if you look up keto, it says 50 grams of carbs per day. But as Dr. Westman taught me, most people who have metabolic issues on 50 grams will not be in a ketogenic state. And when he talked about what tells you that you have metabolic issues, one of the things he labeled was weight to lose. If you're overweight, you have a metabolic issue. Something that most doctors don't link together for us. That's why I like to say it in these videos. The other thing is that if you have joint pain, you have metabolic issues. Another something that most people don't get linked together for them. So there's so many things that are happening that are kind of under the radar and that we don't understand. And because we don't understand, we don't interact properly. But if you have metabolic issues, then you're trying to be under 20. But the other piece of the puzzle, and again, Dr. Westman was the one that really got me to understand this, under 20. It's not 20. It's 20 grams of carbs or less. Why is it that? Because you are trying to get your specific body into a ketogenic state. This is not just do this number. It's not like a test where you need to get, to a certain number or above. You're trying to be at this number or below. And the lower below it you are, the more chance your body is in that ketogenic state and stays there. So when you do 20 grams, but your body, like mine, needs to be under 18, it doesn't work. Right? There's a problem. So I was doing 20 grams and I kept getting kicked out of ketosis and my joints would hurt again. And I was struggling until I realized that, I'm getting kicked out because my number is 18. And as soon as I started staying under 18, and so I didn't even want to risk touching 18 again. So I started staying under 10. And as soon as I did that, everything changed. And that allowed me, Wellness Warrior, to really see the value in not just eating 10 grams of carbs or less, but the value that I now am living of moving to carnivore, because my body damage was enough that eating carbohydrates still left me open to a world of hurt. Now, I'm saying it was enough because I lived it. I could see the outcome on my body. But I want to point something out to you. Since our body does not need carbohydrates coming in from plant matter, that problem is happening for every person who's eating plant matter. So vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, legumes. If you're eating leafy vegetables, salads, if you're eating these things, you are still allowing those toxins that our body does not need to come in. Less of them. And if you are in the lucky position that you have less damage than what I had, and therefore your body can quickly heal that stuff, good on you. But I want to point something else out to you, Wellness Warrior. The damage that the toxins in plant matter cause, and I don't have any fruits or vegetables here because they would spoil. All I have is the stupidity stuff. Like I have chocolate bars, right, and stuff like that I can show you. But I don't have any fruits and vegetables. But I can guarantee you that if I had fruits and vegetables, I'd be showing you them right now, because plants have toxins in them to stop the wrong animal from eating them so that the right animal will eat them, because there's a goal for their fruits and seeds. They want it to spread and be replanted. So they need the right animal to eat it. What that means for you and I is that when we eat this stuff that's not for us to eat, and our body is trying to repair, I was at the point where the amount of damage that I had versus that little bit of carb, so that 20 grams that was still coming in, my body continued to struggle. However, for some of you, you don't see the struggle. And so you just keep eating. You think, oh, great, I'm not gaining weight. I don't have any joint pains. I don't have any skin rashes. I'm doing okay. I need you to understand, Wellness Warrior. There's two other possibilities that could be happening. Possibility one is that you are repairing fast enough. Why I doubt that's the reality of the possibility one, if I eat if I eat fruits and vegetables, low glycemic ones even, every single day, what's the possibility that my body is able to build and repair out what I'm eating every day when the fastest thing on me to repair itself is 2 days? So like, blood cells and stuff like there's some that turn over, like there's some certain cells in our body, the lining of our stomach, whatever, that turn over in a week, maybe 2 weeks. Those are the fastest one. I think the fastest one particularly is 2 days. What's the chance that I'm doing this every day and it's beating me when it only restores in 2 days? So understand, damage is happening. We cannot be faster unless we are only eating some kind of carbohydrate, something less than, and now how far out do you have to go? So there are parts of my body, for example, my skeletal muscle and even my bones and whatever, that take anywhere from 8 to 12 months to 20 years to rebuild. If I'm even weekly or monthly, even yearly, I still will be putting toxins in that if they get stored in the wrong place in my body, and again, this is going to be dependent on what my body was used to doing, then that's how long it will take that to be edited out of me later, right? My body will repair it out, but it's not going to. Do we see the problem in thinking that because I don't see something right now, now here's another problem that I want you to think about. Those internals that I just mentioned, so your heart, your lungs, where's the damage happening? How long does it take my heart to turn over? How long does it take my kidneys to turn over? How long does it take my pancreas to turn over? Where is my body storing the toxin? If visceral fat, even if my body is storing it in these places, I don't have pain receptors in those places. The only way that you know that your heart failed is because it hurts when it's not functioning. But by that point, we have catastrophic failure. Same thing with pancreas, kidneys. When it's catastrophic failure, it hurts. But it's not, and it's like, it's not even that you're still not feeling the actual organ. You're feeling the repercussions that end up finally reaching other neurons that can signal to you, oh, there's a pain here. Because again, they've experimented on this, like people awake and touching things internally and you can't feel them. So we know that this is reality. I'm not going to talk about how they got that data and those poor people that happened to. Regardless, we have that data. So because we know that there's no internal pain receptors, waiting for pain, waiting for problems, bad idea. Absolutely bad idea. Don't do it. Because if you do it, you're setting yourself up that by the time you feel that internal stuff, there's a problem. Bride Biscuit says, fat is not only a nutritional requirement, it's a biological imperative for survival, yet we fight our hormones to our detriment. I think that I answered that one already. I just didn't click on it. Sorry about that. And then thanks, chairs, no problem. Donna, I'm late for an important date. Oh, no problem. Nice that you're able to jump in and say something quick. So I appreciate all of you for taking the 5 seconds to say something. And yeah, I think I've ranted enough. This is a topic that I probably could talk about for days. because I really do feel like we just don't understand what helps our body to heal. We don't understand what our body's actually asking for. We keep trying to force our body to do things that our body will always win. And on the rare occasions where we are able to overpower our body down in weight, we're doing it in it's such an extreme way, and the quality of body we end up with is not high. It is a low quality body that struggles. And why would we want that? We are in pain. We are not doing well. We are weak. We are tired. So many things end up going wrong because our body isn't functioning. You would need to say more than carnivore question mark for me to understand what you're trying to say. WB, I'm not really sure I fully understand what you're trying to say. Carnivore with regard to what I've said a lot of things today. But going back to, we are just ignoring what our body asks for, and we are giving what we think is better for ourselves when our body knows what is better for ourselves. And I think that's the hardest part for me too, is that the food companies influencing medical has really led us down a garden path where doctors just don't have the better information that they should have, the amazing information that they should have to help us do what's best for us. And I know that they don't have the information because they end up in their own health problem, right? They end up overweight. They end up with all kinds of avoidable diabetes, avoidable conditions, right? Like now they're saying dementia is type 3 diabetes. And I'm going to say like probably all brain blah, blah, blahs like could fall in that category. You have people that have plaquing in their brain, etc., because they're not doing what they need to do. So they're not eating what they need to eat to help their body repair itself. And I have a video coming up that I need to watch. So it's not when I'm making, I will probably make a video about this, but I clicked on a video this morning before I started my live stream. And as I started to listen to what the person was saying, I was like, pause. I'm going to need to sit down with a pen and take notes on what this doctor is saying, because she started off talking about how we've been lied to about the fact that our brain cannot regenerate. And she started off by saying that is not true. So I'm excited to hear her talk this morning or later. I like this afternoon at this point where I am right now, but to hear her talk later. The other thing that I want to do is finish a video that I was watching, or not finish it, but I did finish it, but like revisit a video from Dr. Mason. He said something in the video that I saw from him today, again, blew my mind. He said, and it blew my mind because it changes the way we think about the professionals in front of us. The word doctor, which originated from Latin, the word doctor is a Latin word, actually does not mean medical professional. Apparently, doctor actually means teacher. It's Latin for teacher. And so therefore, as Dr. Mason pointed out, the role of the doctor is to teach you, to inform you, to show you the options that exist so that you can make a good decision about what you want to do related to your health. And I thought this was a really amazing thing for him to say, especially since in the video that I was watching, he was talking about heart health and the fallacy of, for example, aspirin being so effective and needed to be taken long term. And he walks us through how he got to that conclusion. And so therefore his statement was he gives the client this information, and then it's their job to decide, do they want to take aspirin or not? And he was talking about that even in the case where the person has had a heart attack, it's still apparently not reality that they should be on aspirin forever. And I was just like, are you joking? Are you joking? But he walks us through how he got there. Wellness Warrior, there's so much information that we just take for granted as reality. We just take for granted. And doctors are put in a position where they think that they need to talk to us like if they know everything. Where Dr. Mason points out that he has completely changed the way he talks to his clients because he recognizes that his job is not to tell them what to do. It's to give them the good information so that they can figure out what works best for them. And so your question to me is carnivore more healthy? I will tell you that in my opinion, for my life, I've chosen to do carnivore because I feel it is more healthy. The reason that I feel it is more healthy is because on a carnivore diet, you are much less likely to eat things that harm you. It doesn't mean that it's impossible, because on a carnivore diet, if you want to eat fried chicken, the chicken could still be fried in seed oils and people will still eat that. How many people do I see going to like fast food restaurants and ordering burger patties that are being fried in seed oils, A, but also B, I was listening in a meeting that I had with our channel, in our channel membership, in our coaching meeting, in our coaching meeting that we had recently, when our member told us that she learned, and she's in sciences, so that was like fun for me, that she learned that fast food restaurants put fillers and then also spray ammonia on their meat patties. For what purpose, she wasn't quite sure. But like, I'm learning things from you guys that just solidify to me, because I don't need fillers. First of all, even if not every fast food company is putting ammonia for some reason, I don't need fillers. And apparently I had heard that multiple different times, that they all put fillers. And what are fillers, by the way? Fillers can be anything from like your meat having vegetation in it to stretch it, all the way up to your meat having like things that you wouldn't naturally eat, like fiber, but the fiber could be, a certain percentage of the fiber could be wood chippings, for example, like shavings, you know? So like, they get away with feeding us stuff, Wellness Warrior. And you would think, well, why would they do that? You know, well, in one burger patty, probably the amount that's in there is no, I should never say negligible, but like so minuscule that if you pulled apart everything, you're not going to see a wood fiber. But when you're making thousands and millions of pounds of this meat and you add that wood fiber, all of a sudden the cost benefit becomes obvious. All of a sudden, adding vegetation to your ground meat, the cost benefit becomes obvious. And so I don't trust companies to make my food. I mean, even something as simple as tenderizing meat. Like when I learned, again, from another, this time it was from a viewer who commented on a video of mine where I was showing some stuff, and I had, he pointed out that when you buy beef or any kind of meat, actually, that's been tenderized, so I'm assuming you can tenderize any kind of meat. So you probably can do it to chicken, you probably can do it to pork or whatever, any kind of meat. When they tenderize it, what they're actually doing is not just squashing it, but they're poking holes in it. And that allows bacteria to get in and start to spoil the food. So you have a higher probability of having spoiled food because they're making holes in. I had never even considered that, right? Because as soon as meat is processed, it starts spoiling immediately. Immediately. That's just the nature of real food. This stuff can sit on my desk for years. And it's been over years that this has been sitting here. And I'm sure that if I opened it, they would taste just like they originally tasted, because the shelf life of this stuff is crazy. When you buy a new package of this foolishness and turn it over and look at the shelf date, 99% of the time, if it's a fresh package, it's more like 2-3 years for this stupidity, because it's not real food. Like, it's processed garbage that sits there waiting to be eaten. And so, yes, all carbohydrates come with toxins. So in my opinion, get back to the question, I do see carnivore as a healthier diet because you are minimizing the garbage coming in. And I want to also add here that spices are the most toxic part of the plant. And again, this is another something that people don't think about. We put spices on our food because we want it to taste good, not realizing that when we put spices on our food, what we're actually doing is putting the part of the stuff on our food that the plant was using to tell us to go away, which again, those are the toxins. So capsaicin, one of the nice fun ones that I used to like, like make your food a little spicy. Yeah, but it burns your mouth. We don't pause and think about that that's on purpose. The plant is trying to get us not to eat this because it wants it to stay on the plant, right? It wants it to make it to the ground, and those seeds to be able to make it into the ground to grow more plants. And it's kind of obvious and makes so much sense when we pause and think about it. But when we don't pause and think about it, we do not realize that we are, again, allowing our bodies to take in a dangerous chemical that's purposely made to be dangerous because it wants to stop these, whether it be bugs or animals. So sometimes, again, a squirrel, a chipmunk, like some of these animals are much smaller than us. And so therefore, yes. But even a bear that would eat a pepper that's a Scoville of like how many million would probably never eat that again. Nope, not us humans. We keep going after that and like, whoa, how can we force ourselves to take it? Like, I remember being silly enough back when I was doing keto and still like at the very beginning of, I think it was really at the beginning of my journey. Was I doing keto yet, or was that before I did keto? I can't remember right now. It might have been before I did keto. No, I think it was before. When the challenges were going around where they had those like really tart like candies. So it was before before keto. And I remember like getting them and being like, the whole thing was like, how many of them could you put in your mouth before you like just couldn't take it anymore? And we did that. We also did the one where it's like, the bamboozled or whatever it's called, where you try the bean and see like, can you, like, do you end up getting a bad tasting one? Like, so these things that we do where there's no health positive reason to ever put there's no health positive reason to ever put a candy in your mouth. It doesn't exist, but we do it. We do it. We do it because why? Because I don't even know why. We do it because it looks fun. We do it because other people are doing it. We do it because we don't understand how wrong it is to do. Those are probably all the reasons that we do it. And unfortunately, it causes problems. It causes actual health problems. The glycation that comes from glucose, that is what our body actually expects, how that compares. So like how much worse it is when we take fructose. It's so much worse, right? So if you eat rice, for example, and you get 20 grams of carbohydrate, that's your max for the day. Your body will have to deal with 20 grams of carbohydrate from rice. Or let's make it something, even if it's well, I'm gonna stick with the rice. There's a reason there, because that is a starch, and so therefore fructose practically non-existent in rice. Versus, you get 20 grams from insert any vegetable or fruit. Let's go with a fruit, right? Like let's say you got 20 grams from an apple. In both of these scenarios, you are well within your numbers. Here's the problem, and why I always tell people to go for the lowest glycemic vegetable you can. And I would even say if you do peppers or any of the sweet tasting vegetables, even if you get 20 grams worth, you're going to have the same problem. Here's the problem: the fructose level. Fruits taste sweeter than vegetables because they have more fructose. It's like 50-50 fructose to glucose in fruit. That's the same as table sugar, Wellness Warrior. That's very similar to high fructose corn syrup, although high fructose corn syrup can get as high, I think they have said, as 80% fructose. But typically, being at 50-60% is normal for high fructose corn syrup. They don't want it so sweet that you can't stand it, right? So they'll go 50-60%. Fruit is around the same. So the glycation of glucose, if we say that that's 1, Dr. Barry helped me to understand that, so 20 grams glycation, so if I'm doing starch, it would be 20 grams glycation. It's all glucose. Versus, if I do 20 grams of apple, sure, that's only 10 grams glucose, so 10 glycation there. But then you have 10 grams of fructose times 7. That's 120 grams, right? Sorry, times 7, 140 grams of glycation. And then we have to add back the 10 grams. So it's actually 150 grams of glycation. Do you see how exponentially more dangerous Dr. Barry is helping us to understand that fructose actually is to us? It is not a great idea. And when we go over to the vegetable world, it's the same thing. Sweet tasting vegetables. So in the plant side of things, you have like, for example, peppers, right? They're sweet tasting vegetables. Tomatoes. Well, it's actually a fruit, but it's sweet tasting. Like all of these sweet tasting vegetables that we love to add to our stuff, and like the glycation is more. And we don't realize, but I'm under my 20 grams of, 20 grams. We need to understand it matters where the sugar is coming from. So, a lot of times people try to say, oh, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing and no, it matters. The more that you understand what your body does with what, the more you understand what impacts your body is impacting your body and how, the better decisions that you can actually make for yourself. But if you don't understand these things, someone's going to come along and say, oh, like it doesn't matter. As long as you eat healthy, that's all that really matters. And you're going to believe them, not realizing that, yes, eating healthy is the top thing that you're trying to do. It's the top thing. But then we also need to eat healthy in a way that allows our body to do with what the healthy things coming in, what we want it to do. So even if I have the most beautiful steak on my plate, but I've covered it in, spices that are just bringing all kinds of toxins into my body, and I'm still allowing myself to have that 20 grams of high fructose, I just want to make sure I specify, high fructose sugar, whether it's fruits or vegetables, I'm causing problems. I'm not saying that starch is better, because Dr. Ekberg helped me to see that the starches break down so quickly and get your body. And what I'm trying to get you to see is that it's about minimizing the carbohydrates coming in and noticing when you chase. That's the other thing here. Like, I realize that I'm much more likely to chase when I taste sweet. I can eat something that doesn't taste sweet, or at least I was able to eat something that doesn't taste sweet, and I wouldn't chase it. I could have an amount and be fine, and not want it the next day and the next day. Like, I would be fine. But then what started to happen is that things that didn't used to taste sweet to me, as the longer I was eating lower and lower carbohydrates, started to taste sweet to me. And so what I started to understand is that our mouth's sensitivity to sweet is absolutely impacted by our body's ability. So like what we've been bringing in, and that impacts our body's ability to manage. Everything is connected, Wellness Warrior. If I eat healthy, then my body can manage the healthy foods that I'm eating, and therefore everything is good. And if something unhealthy comes in, my mouth tastes it right away. Ooh, something's weird there, right? I'm going to taste the sweet. I'm going to taste the spicy. I'm going to taste the whatever. Like, I'm sure that if today I were to try to eat some like spicy hot food, it would knock me out. It's been so long since I've had spices on my food. It's been over 2 years since I had any kind of spice. So I think it would just knock me out. I would be like, oh, I cannot manage. Versus, like, or not versus, the same thing with sugar. If I were to try to eat something that was, like, if I try to take a bite of one of these things, I'm sure that my mouth would just be like, what are you doing? Stop it. Right? So it's important for us to understand that the foods that we're putting in our mouth determine the system, what the system is getting, what our mouth is used to. It's the same reason that over in Europe, they have different flavor profiles that they like. Over in Asia, they have different flavor profiles that they like. And over here in North America, we seem to have settled on sweet. I don't know why. I wish we'd stop. But, like, now for me, I'm enjoying the savory flavors. I look forward to eating all my meals. Actually, I can't even pick one out. Like, I'm just as happy to eat meat as I am to eat fish now, which is interesting to me because that was not a thing before. And although, like, I do like doing surf and turf, I do still eat the fish first because I do prefer, I think I prefer, but I'm happy if I have a fish meal, right? I'm not like sad anymore. Like I used to be like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just eating to eat today, right? Which means that, for example, come Good Friday, I'm going to be a much happier person on Good Friday. I'm going to be like much more enthusiastic about the meal I'm making for the first time, I think, ever. I won't just be making my Good Friday meal because I have no choice. I'm not allowed to eat meat. I'll be making it happily. And you know what? I don't even know. Maybe I'll end up trying a new kind of fish just because why not? But these are things that I don't think I ever would have been able to even fathom doing before. Like, it wouldn't have been an idea to me to try a different kind of fish, or have fish and scallops and like make my Good Friday meal like a really fun meal. Like, because I'm having like different tastes on the plate. So fish and scallops and like maybe, whatever else I can think, maybe still have some eggs and like just make it like a meal, like, but like a more thought out meal, I guess is what I'm really looking to do. Because normally when I make meals, I'm eating the meal as made every time, no changes. Like I have at this moment, 5-ish meals that I make on repeat, and they just get made on repeat. And the fish meal is the one that I make the least often, which is just salmon with eggs. And I make that meal the least often. I'm looking to change that because I'm going to try to put it in my rotation so that I have 5 meals that I'm just going through, and it becomes the 5th meal. But I haven't done that yet because I need to go buy some more salmon in order to do that part of the story. But I think that once I do that and it becomes part of the rotation, again, a lot of this is going to feel very different to me. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how my health improves, and what different changes I can bring back to you guys to talk about. So again, I'm going to end it by saying yes, in my opinion, I do think carnivore is healthier. Do I think you should rush to carnivore? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do not rush yourself to a carnivore way of living. Even though I am sitting here saying that every bit of vegetation you eat has an impact on your body, the one thing that I've noticed is that when people rush to carnivore and they're not ready for it, they risk going back to standard diet. And there's, so when we fast for like more than 3 days and then go back to eating food, there's this thing called refeed syndrome. So you didn't have food coming in. Your body adjusted because there was actually no food coming in. It had to take care of you. It had to protect you. Again, our body's really good at that. It recalibrates a bunch of stuff so that you can slow down and it can use what's on you appropriately. And then when you go back to eating, if you just start like just shove a steak in your face, or even if you shove one of these stupid things in your face, like if you just start with solid food and like high energy food immediately, refeed syndrome can happen. And what we've learned is that the best thing to do is to take in some bone broth or some, like, maybe eggs if you don't have bone broth, but something really soft, simple, clean, healthy, and give your body time to settle into that, egg or bone broth is the better choice, to settle into that bone broth and understand, okay, nutrients are starting to come back. And the nice thing about bone broth is that there are like micronutrients in it and electrolytes and all. So there's like stuff in there to help your body go like, oh, okay, some stuff come back. Going back to carnivore. If I go from, gosh, please don't go from standard diet to carnivore, because the possibility of oxalate dumping and all kinds of stuff is high if you do that. So please don't do that. But if I go from standard diet or keto diet to carnivore, let's say I do it properly and ease into it to carnivore. But when I get into carnivore, if I'm not ready to stay there long term, which means like for the rest of my life, the problem that happens is that when I go back to keto, or heaven forbid to standard diet, again, oxalate dumping can happen, but also all kind of other toxins could start dumping because my body, which had started to repair, which had started to utilize what was coming in a good way, is A, going to have a shock of all these toxins coming back in that it's not prepared for, is also B, going to resume weight gain aggressively because it's like trying to manage everything that's coming in. Again, it's not ready for it, so it's aggressive. It's just not advised. It is better for you to A, be certain that wherever you go, you're going to stay. And I'll tell you, I did go to carnivore for like a month and a half, and then I went back to keto, and I lived digestive problems, and like I had some joint pains when I went back because I started bringing so my body had a reaction. I had only been carnivore for like 2 months, I believe it was 2 months. And doing my carnivore journey did show me that I didn't want that much vegetation in my diet. So when I came back, I only brought back the Caesar salad that I was making at home. So it was very specific how I was making it. It didn't have most of the stuff in it. I brought back avocado and olives. So when I came back from carnivore, occasional broccoli, sorry, I also had broccoli occasionally, and I think cabbage occasionally at the beginning. So I brought back like 5 out of all the vegetation that I had been eating before that, because I was eating a wide variety of vegetation. Reason I'm telling you this is because I made the mistake, and luckily for me, it didn't seem like I experienced any oxalate dumping. Doesn't mean that other people haven't. That's how I learned about it. I spoke to other people and they were like, oof, that's dangerous because, and they talked about their experience, and what they learned was happening to them was oxalate dumping. But after reading Sally Norton's book and talking to Georgia Ede and reading her book, I start to understand that oxalates aren't the only thing you can dump. Like every toxin that your body is holding onto, it's trying to get rid of. So, and sometimes when you eat these things, Sally Norton helped me to understand that you eat something after you haven't had it for a long time, you signal to your body that, oh no, this toxin is coming back in. And it's almost like it's dumping it to try to get rid of as much of it as it can before you start floating up on it again. Whereas before you ate the thing, it was slowly, slowly just releasing it. And then, of course, your kidneys and digestive tract could eliminate it, whichever way made the most sense to eliminate it. So she helped me to understand that this is not a race to higher and higher. So to keto and carnivore, it's not a race to get to carnivore and like be on a perfect diet. It's about moving along slowly and then settling where you're comfortable so that you maintain what you're able to maintain. I think that's the most important thing I'm trying to get you to see here. Rather than trying to get to carnivore, maybe I was standard diet and I do low carb, which is 120 or 150, I can't remember, 100, between 100, let's say 150 grams of carbs per day. And maybe I get here and my health is doing amazing. Maybe like my skin clears up, I'm losing weight, I'm feeling amazing. Like maybe at 150, I feel amazing. It's better for you to stay at 150 for a while and see how far can I get. And especially if you're a young person, maybe you could do years at 150 without a problem. Here's the thing. If I let myself go, if I force myself to go to let's say 20 grams because 150 is not good enough, right? In my head, even though my body's reacting amazing to it. When I get to 20, if I struggle and cannot maintain the 20 and try to go back to 150, I could be in a problem. Because this is the other part of the story. For most of us, we've been overeating carbohydrates from day one, right? Like we came onto the planet and our parents gave us cereal and baby banana as our first foods. That is overeating carbohydrates. Your child needs meat, fish, poultry, eggs, just like us. So when we give our kids cereal from day one, they are carbohydrated, over carbohydrated, that's a new word. Okay, since day one, right? And since they have all this excess carbohydrate floating around in them, their body has learned to live in this situation. When you finally take your body out of this bad story, which is what I did, and put it in an amazing story, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, salt, iodine, right? So that's where the fish comes in real heavy, right? You need that iodine. If I go back to the standard diet, or even just go back to keto and all the vegetarian, my body is going to be like, what the are you doing, Violet? Why are you torturing me and bringing back the thing that was making me cry? It's like if all of a sudden I'm bringing back the old project manager that's again buying used materials and the renovation is off the rails again. It doesn't make any sense, right? You don't bring back the old manager that was buying poor quality stuff that the renovation years and years and decades going by and not able to get any work done. You stick with the manager that was bringing in the stuff that allowed your body to heal and get what it needs to get done. So WB, I hope that helped you. I hope everyone got some value out of me answering that question. And next Monday at 11:20, and I know that I didn't schedule this properly and it said it was happening at 1:15 in the morning because that's when I actually put it up and I forgot to change the time and date. But next Monday I will try to schedule it properly so you get your notifications for the actual live stream appropriately. And I'm glad to see you were able to pop in and say hi, Stephanie. And I hope that you get some value out of this conversation. Thank you very much, WB, for letting me know that was helpful. And I hope, again, that wherever you are in the process, that you allow yourself to look at the data and then do what's going to be best for you, do what's going to be healthiest for you. Because that's what we need to do. We need to look at the data, do what's best for us, and that way we can heal our body and get our health back, our life back. So like I said, there's a video linked below. It's going to help you to walk you through some of the healthy foods that you really like. Don't trust those healthy foods because they can pull you into, like, it just helps you to understand how healthy food can pull you into eating off diet again and cause problems. Thanks for watching with me and sticking around, and I will talk to you guys next Monday, 11:20. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Today's video is brought to you by My Keto Consultations. You know how to do keto, but you're having trouble just sticking with it? Book a consultation with me and we're going to get you back on track. The link is in the description.